Welcome everybody. This is the Thursday evening Viper Trading webinar. If you're here to learn about trading the futures markets using the Viper tools, you are in the right place. Let's knock out our standard disclaimer so we can get over to some charts and get this thing going. All communications from Viper Trading Systems are for educational purposes only. Futures trading does involve risk and there is a risk of loss. Nothing contained in this webinar or other webinars, including the live trading room, are to be construed as investment or trading advice. And of course, everybody in here does know that you do trade at your own sole discretion. All right, good. That's out of the way. Let's get over to a YM chart here on screen 1. And it looks just like this. All right, so the topic tonight is we're going to look at how to quickly identify whether you are in a range or a trend, and then how to trade it. So what you see here, just a quick recap of what you are looking at. I'm connected to a data feed through the broker, and this is YM. YM is the mini Dow. It's $5 a tick. All the equities, as most of you know, rolled over last week to the September contract. So it's very important you don't trade the June contract anymore on any of the equities. We have the indicators here are the background colors, the bar colors, power meters, predictors. You can toggle those on and off if you like. Those are real-time support and resistance levels. And of course, the most prominent thing is the mid-band, the thick line here, and the 4 bands above it and the 4 bands below it. And we'll talk about how to trade that in just a second. Let's get back to the open. I live in California, so this is Pacific time out here. And so just adjust whatever you see here to your local time zone. Now you can see here, let's go back to the overnight session. I want to start off with YM going back to what happened last night, because that is relevant to what happened this morning. Now here is the end. So midnight Pacific here, this is the end of the Asian session. So the Asian session is over here, starting at 5 o'clock my time. So it's just actually kicking off right now. And then here's the European session getting kicked off from midnight over here. So what kind of trend were we in on YM overnight? What kind of trend were we in YM overnight? Up, down, or sideways? YM last night, overnight, in the European trading session. By the way, to orient you over here, the U.S. equity market open is at 6:30 a.m. Pacific, which is actually located somewhere right about here. Up. Yeah, it was an uptrend. And so just to refresh everybody, we are what we call retracement traders in a trend. And then in the case of the ranges, we trade the extremes if the range is tradable. So for instance, here was a pull up and a box here, mid-band box. I'm not going to do all these overnight because I want to get to what happened this morning. Here's another box here. This is a long trade here. Here's a long trade here. Long trade here. All these pullbacks, retracements, if they're sufficiently deep enough, are long trades. Now, I got to tell you, I've seen this a million times over the past 25 years. You know, the market bottomed out at 25,150-ish down here, triple bottom, and the thing ran all the way up to, so 100 ticks would be 250. That's right about here. And another 80 ticks to get up. So by the time the open of the U.S. market came along here, you on YM, you were already up 180 ticks. So what happens when I see this is that we're going to be left with the scraps. It's going to consolidate up here. It's going to jerk us around for probably at least a half an hour and consolidate, and we get the bones. So I wasn't surprised to see that we get this junk right here after the market opens that looks something like this. We go into this mind-numbing range with support down in this sort of 89-90 area and resistance up here just shy of 30. Now this is about 20, 25, almost pushing 30 ticks, so it is tradable. Now, in this range, we knew that this range existed before the market opened, because these swings were already established. So everybody knows, I'm just going to state the obvious. We always put in lines where our support and resistance levels are in the pre-market session. So that would look something more like that. Opening session comes along. We just bounce around between these two levels. Now, if you were going to trade this range, and it clearly was a range, would your primary mode, and I'm going to give you 5 seconds to answer this, okay? Would your primary mode be to get long from support, take profit at the top of the range? That's L for long. Would you be shorting the top, S for short, and covering at the bottom of the range? Or would you trade both sides? Short the top, cover, buy, take profit, short the top, both. B for both. And I'll give you 5 seconds. Primary mode of entry: long from the bottom of the range, short from the top of the range, S, B for both. 4 seconds on the clock. Cast your vote on how you would trade this range at the open on YM. How would you do it? If YM sets up a range like this tomorrow morning, what would you do? Let me blow the chart up a little bit more so you get a better picture of what's going on here. All right, time's up. Now, for me personally, after this big run up and you're consolidating, technically you are in a range, and this is clearly consolidation. There is no question about that. However, the background is the transitional color to green. Technically speaking, you're still sort of heading sideways to up. So in my opinion, you would have been buying long only here until it breaks out of this range one direction or another. I would not be shorting the top of this range. No. I think what you want to do is you want to buy support in this condition until it flips. Now let's continue on and look at what happens here. I'm going to advance the chart. We're going to look at it together. Okay, it holds support, holds support, holds support, holds support. You traded in a lower tight range here. I remember this. Truth be told, I stayed out of a lot of that. I didn't take any of this stuff. I was trading the other markets. I was trading NASDAQ. I was looking at ES, a couple of ES trades, and I traded the Russell quite heavily. Russell was beautiful today. We should really try to look at a Russell chart. Now watch what happens here. So it's just sitting on the support, sitting on the support, sitting on support, and then babambo, it takes out the top of the current range here and goes all the way to 43. Now, before anything happens after this point, if the trend is going to continue up, what needs to happen next? Just type something in. This is where we sort of plan ahead a little bit. We're sort of forward thinking, anticipating. Okay, we broke up through this resistance. It's been locked in for like 2 hours. Finally popped it. Background turned green again. Bars are blue. Finally, this mid band that had been going sideways for an hour and a half is now turning up. So what would have to happen for trend continuation to the upside? Now keep in mind, from the overnight swing low, we're up 190 ticks. So that's a tall order for buy programs to continue to push that up. Good, it would have to get a higher low. So you've heard the term support becomes resistance. On a pullback, you would want to see probably this area right here hold as support, yes? And if it gets below there, you could still technically get a higher low if it held in here. Any one of these two levels would be considered a higher swing low. It would bounce, and you'd be looking to buy and take trades to the upside. Now let's see what actually happens. Here comes 7 o'clock. Now, there was only business inventory news at 7 o'clock, which is minor impact, so that shouldn't have driven what happened next, but let's watch it together. All right, it's peaking out, hit 53. That's 200 ticks, almost to the button from the overnight low right there. 200 ticks, comes down, dinking around, trying to hold it. Oopie-doodle. Let me get this line a little bit out of the way here. Let me try to get this up out of the way so you can see this. So this prior support resistance area, did this hold? Is this holding? Nope. All right, let's get this prior area right here, just where the midband used to be. Comes down, it gets a bounce. And then what does it do right here? I think, as I recall, we said put a box on the midband there and let it go either way, because at the time it formed, at 7:26, it was not clear at this particular moment in time, even though the background had turned red, it was not clear whether this box was going to wind up resolving itself this way or this way. So you're still, within an hour, hour and a half of the market open, and the markets can very quickly go either way. As it turns out, you were filled short on the close of this bar right here, and then watch what happens. They just ripped this thing down. It just ripped through this 86 level like it wasn't even there. Now, do you get another entry opportunity? If you missed that first leg, well, let's take a look. Now, we said we're retracement traders. Let's do an exercise together. I am going to advance this chart, and you're going to watch what happens. And when you think you see, and I'll help you out, it's a short trade, right? Background is red, trend is down, we're selling retracements at resistance. When you see a short trade set up, you type in the letter T. Okay, I'm going to advance this chart, and we're going to recreate this morning's price action on YM. Are you ready? I'm going to start it right now. You type in a T when you see the short trade set up that you would take. Here we go. Okay, there's 735. Okay, there's 736. Let me blow it up a little bit here. Okay, coming up to the midband there. Okay, 7:37 a.m. Pacific time. $7:41. Remember, you're typing in a T where the short trade sets up. 7:47. All right, I'm going to stop it there. Now, many of you got this. Good. You get the gold star for the evening. You typed in a T when these bars formed right here, and you were correct. This was the first short entry right here. Filled on the close of that bar right there. Now, you did get a scalp off, and you did hit your target. Now, depending on the tightness of your stop, you might have stopped out right here when it closed up through line 2 and stealth. However, there was a re-entry, and many of you typed in T's when these bars formed right here, and that was correct. That was your second short trade entry right there. You filled short on probably the close of this bar right here. Now, I did take these trades. When this thing is trending, this is time to load the boat. This is time to load the boat, because they took this thing all the way back down to exactly where they broke out between 150 and 160 down here. Look at that. Wasn't that beautiful? Oh my goodness. Let's take a look here, and then we're going to go to another instrument. The first leg of this thing went from about, let's use a round number, I don't know, 315, something like that. And you stopped out at 51, so that's 60 ticks. Second leg was a scalpy, 55 to 46. I don't know, maybe 10, 11, 12 ticks on this popper. And then this puppy was the bomb.com. You went from 50 all the way down here to 70, 80 ticks. Basically, it retraced pretty much all of the move from overnight. Just incredible short trades. Let's go over and take a look at NASDAQ. Some of you have been asking about NASDAQ. We took it out of the room because it was so spazzy, and you had to sort of babysit it all day and all night long, you know. And it just, you know, at the time, you know, for you've been around for a while, you know, we had 5 charts in the room for a while. Remember? Nazi was tucked in the middle there, and she became like you just had to nurse it. I mean, it was like you had to ignore all the other charts and just spend all your time trading NASDAQ, and that wasn't fair to the other instruments. Plus, people were getting beat up trying to chase it around all over the place. So I got to tell you something. It's a firecracker. If you're going to trade NASDAQ, you got to know what you're doing because it can bite you hard and fast. That thing moves so fast. It is unbelievable. I'm going to show you right now what NASDAQ does. Here's what NASDAQ looks like. Here, I want to do it this way. Let me do it this way. Okay. You want to see how many bars NASDAQ has? You want to see how many bars NASDAQ has? Okay. Here's right now. Here is 10 o'clock this morning. Let's keep going back. Let's try to go all the way back to the open. I mean, you can see just visually how this thing works. You know, you get these incredible pushes, swings, you know, just jolt to the system up and down, and then you go sideways for a while. And then it looks like it's selling off, and then ba-bambo, it takes off. Comes here, jiggle jogs around a little bit, then ba-bambo, 100 ticks down, 100 ticks down. So here's the way you might not like to hear this, but this is the truth and reality of NASDAQ. 5,000 bars, is that how many it is, Dennis? Oh, I believe it. You know, it can turn on a heartbeat. Here, we're just at 8 o'clock. We aren't even at the open yet. There's 7 o'clock. There's 7:30. Let's go back here. Here's the overnight run up on NASDAQ. So why is the NASDAQ market moving like this? Why are we getting these incredible, unbelievable 200-tick moves up and down and all over the place and all manner of up, you know, flipping around, V double tops and taking off and then shooting right back down? Why is NASDAQ doing that? Why is it doing this? What is the deal with this price action? What's going on with this volatility? Algos, buy-sell programs, bots, yes. Plus, everybody knows that NASDAQ almost every day is hitting fresh all-time highs. And tech is hot. Apple's almost $1 trillion company. That's the elephant in the room here, right? You know, you look at Microsoft, $800 billion company. Amazon, $600 billion company. These are trillions of dollars these guys are throwing around. Big money pushing this stuff around. So here's overnight. Now here's 6:30. Now here's what I want to show a contrast to what you looked at on YM. What was going on at 6:30 on NASDAQ? Right here. Was it going sideways at all? Was it going sideways? No. Oh, no. Heck no. I was trading this too. It was still going up. It was going up. It was running counter to the other markets. So here's the second cautionary tale. You got to be quick. You got to know what you're doing. You got to get in at the right spots. You got to make sure it doesn't bite you. And then I'm going to show you what you're going to be dealing with here, okay? It's not, you know, if you wanted an instrument that like respects swing levels and holds a, you know, you can put a line in there and it respects it. Forget about all that with NASDAQ. It doesn't work like that. Now watch what happens here. I mean, it totally fought the tape. Here's how this thing can get in your face in a very fast and sometimes very bad way. All right. So at the open, it continued up, and then we went in this consolidation patch right here. So it went into an up to sideways range, somewhat similar to what YM did right in here. However, notice what started to happen here. You started to get lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, mid-band kiss, background turns red, bars are red, stair stepping down. So what are you thinking here? You're thinking short, right? Right? This is the trend change. This is what happened to the other equities. The other equities are selling off, right? Remember the YM chart dropped 200 ticks, right? Okay, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Charles, I see that. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. What's going on here? What is that? Not only does it bottom out here at 65, comes right through the mid-band and then runs all the way up to a fresh high. What the heck? And this did this all within the span of a few minutes. I mean, you know, let me just orient and give you some background to understand how quickly this happens. The short rollover occurred at 6:52, and it bottomed out here at 6:55. 4 minutes later, this move happens that quick, within like 3 minutes. And then it went from here at 6:56 all the way up to here at 7:01. So 4 minutes was this. Did you have time to put a box on here? Probably not. I'm saying like right here. Do you have time to box it and take a long trade there? At the time it happened, when this came up and kissed here, you were maybe thinking short, right? Didn't we say we're looking for shorts? Background is red, background is red. Guess in here, maybe you have the box enabled for short only because you're thinking, hey, this puppy's going to roll. Does it roll? No. No, it runs 80 ticks straight up. How many of you want to trade that? You going to put the Nazi chart up tomorrow? Anybody? Show of hands. Anybody want to take this puppy on? And then look, it ran up to fresh highs, ran another 100 ticks. The other markets are tanking. They are tanking. They are ripping them down. Russell sold off like 120 ticks in like 20 minutes. And NASDAQ is doing this. I don't know what you'd be thinking. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the takeaway on this. Look, I'm not disparaging NASDAQ. I've traded for a long time. I've watched this instrument. I'm comfortable with the movement. You know, 25 years experience, 10 years in futures. You know, I can handle this. I can get in and out of this puppy. It doesn't worry me. I'll take a pop or two. Here's the way you got to look at NASDAQ, okay? You're going to take losses. You just are, okay? And what you want to do is you want to keep the losses minimal until you can catch a long run like this. In other words, over here when it's dinking around, okay, you're going to make a little money, you're going to get messed up and lose a little money. You make a little money, you're going to lose a little money. And you catch maybe a nice short. Maybe you catch this, maybe you were quick enough to get a market order in here, pulled back here, you caught the tail end of it, you get this sort of deep probe, and you catch, you know, you caught a pop here and a pop here. As long as she's behaving yourself, you're still making money, right? I would strongly urge everybody here who's watching this to trade this in sim and see if it's for you. Okay? If you're going in there in sim and you're just getting your keister handed to you, then I'm telling you, that's why we took it out of the room. You're seeing now why we took it out of the room. Okay? People are just getting obliterated. You don't want to do that. All right, let's take a look at 6B. Let's move on. Who was asking for 6B? Show of hands. Who was asking for 6B? 6B is the British pound futures. Now, let me show you what today looked like on 6B, British pound futures. I believe there's still 6 1/4. I haven't traded it in a while, so it used to be 6 1/4 a tick. Let's look at. So if you're familiar with Forex, Forex, most of Forex is U.S. dollar cross pairs. Okay, so you would have like GBP USD would be the British pound cross British pound Forex equivalent of the cross pair in Forex. This 6B is the futures of that, and if you put a Forex chart next to this, it would look very similar to it. That's why you can use our indicators to trade Forex, because it's almost, it's not a perfectly identical, but it's extremely close. Okay, but that's what this is. So as you can imagine, the British pound is going to get a lot of movement when? In the Asian session? In the European session? In the US session? This is pretty much the whole day right there. Yeah. So, like, if you've ever traded Forex, if you were a night owl and you traded overnight, you know that, like 6E, the euro, and the British pound and the Swissy, that's when they get most of their movement. Now, that's not to say there isn't opportunities when the U.S. session kicks in, like over here. Let's say 6:30. Here's 6 o'clock right here. Arguably you had you had a short roll over here that made some money. Trend is down, so you're shorting resistance. You had one here that didn't work out so good. Maybe you got a scalp and stopped off, and then you got sort of a little phantom one right here, where it joggled around there around 8 o'clock or so. Now, just to level set some expectations here, you see all this movement, nice movement up and down. This happened all in the European session. Now, this little swath right here, which actually technically is kind of sideways, if you look at this whole area right here, went from 6 a.m. to almost 9 o'clock. Okay, so in the U.S. session, you were left with, this. Here's 6 o'clock right here, and kind of put the swing in here, and then, went up. It's basically jockling around in a little, 40-tick range for 3 hours. That's why I really don't look at 6B and 6E during the day, because most of the movement occurs overnight. So if you're a night owl, and you're up looking for something to do and something to trade, 6B could be a candidate for you. If you have work in the morning early, or you get home, you get up early, you want to practice on some charts, and you want to see something that's moving, 6B would be something to take a peek at. Okay? Who wanted to see 6E? Somebody wanted to show 6E. Now I'm going to do a pop quiz question for you. If you're going to look at 6E, what else do you need to look at? In other words, should you look at 6E in isolation, or should you look at 6E while you're looking at something else? And if the answer is yes, what would it be? Who is 6E's best friend? Who is 6E's best friend? Best friendy ever. You're my hero, best friendy. That's right, the dollar index. Ding, 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 ding. Gold stars to everybody. Now, second part of the quiz. If 6E is going down, what is the dollar index doing? 6E is going down. What is the dollar doing? Okay, I'm going to show you some charts, and this is going to help you out. Good. They are mirror images of each other. Now, here's the advantage of trading these two charts together. Occasionally, not always, but sometimes, one will move ahead of the other. Sometimes, you get a little precursor of a move up on the dollar, and you can pretty certainly short, you can short 6E accordingly, right? Here's 6E. pretty much selling off all day long, selling off, selling off, selling off, and here's the dollar trending up, up to sideways, up, nice long trade right here, nice long trade right here, long all day long, going up. Look at that huge move in the morning, huge move in the morning. Started going up well, it was selling off earlier, so it flipped. Let's take a look if this still works out. 445 to 448, you got to flip. And over here on 6E, it should have been the reverse, right? Where's 445? 445. There you go. Yeah. So see the flip? What is he talking about? Well, I'm talking about this right here. Here you're getting a little double top on 6E, and at the same time, this was happening on the dollar. Can you see it's a mirror image of each other? You got a bottoming out of the dollar. At the same time, you're getting a double top. Now, see, it looks a little bit different here. You know, here's a double top, and then a pull back top, and then sold off. Here, the dollar didn't have much of a rebound at all. So here's the takeaway. You can watch the two together. And when I traded this actively, I used to watch these two together. However, I would submit to you that the dollar is a little smoother to trade than 6E. Okay. Plus, I think 6E used to be $12.50 a tick. I don't know if it still is, but it used to be $12.50 a tick, and the dollar is $5. So from a risk point of view, you know, it's a little smoother and a little easier on the pocketbook. You can see here, there's, you know, this long, you know, it was nice, beautiful shorts overnight. Here's a short, 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 long, long, long on 6E. All right, we had a question. Now, I want to show, before we try to pop a nat gas chart up here, which I pretty much never trade, but we can put it up there, because a couple of reasons. The margins are huge. You know, you get this sort of jerky movement where, you know, it'll just sort of dink around for a while, and then it's kind of like gold sometimes, you know, just stuck in a range. Next thing you know, boop, you know, out of nowhere, 50 ticks, just straight up, straight down, whatever. Very difficult to trade when it's that hard to track. Now let's take a look at Russell. I love the Russell. Quite frankly, it's my go-to instrument. Oh, you don't want to see pass on that gas, Dennis? Okay. All right. No problem. Now, here's the Russell. I really like the Russell. It's smoother than the other instruments. It's still $5 a tick. You get good movement without getting too whack-a-mole around. Okay. Overnight, the Russell, midnight Pacific, was right here. So you can see, just like the other equities, going into the end of the Asian session, you had a little bit of sell-off here. Came spike V bottom, came back up. This would have been like 1 in the morning-ish. Night owls, if you boxed it, you never got short. It gave you the long. Hey, another pop quiz. Make sure you're awake looking at this chart. This long entry right here, and I'm going to blow it up. Did you have another chance to get into it if you missed the original box? Yes or no? 5 seconds on the clock. This long trade right here, if you missed drawing the box, was there another chance to get in it? All you got to type in is a Y or an N. Yes or no? Just simply yes or no. Was there a second chance to get in? 4 seconds. 3 seconds. Y or N. That's it. Cast your vote. Hit the button. Either it was or there wasn't. That simple. It's very binary. No, maybe. Well, I don't know. It sort of looks like something, but I can't really tell. 2 seconds. Time's up. Yes, the KISS. The ABC. We call this the ABC, right? ABC. You see this all the time. Well, not all the time. Okay. You see it quite frequently. So if you box like I had shown, you're filled long on the close of that bar right there, right? However, this is the A part of the move. You get the pop. And what's the B part? Yeah, the B part comes right back down, right to where you got filled in over here. So if you said yes, because it checked the support, you had another chance to get in almost exactly where that bar closed up right there. And then, of course, the C part is the follow through to the upside, which is what you got here. ABC pattern. When you break out of a box. So this is what, a lot of traders, sort of throw in the towel. Oh, man, I saw that. Oh, I didn't box it to mid-band. Dang, the thing's running up. Look at that. Stick around a little bit. Because many, many times it will come back and check that level and sit there and give you an opportunity to re-enter it right there. Good. All right, let's do another pop quiz. I'll help you out on this one. I'm going to lob one up for you. It's not going to be too complicated. Now you're going to type in ST when you think you see a short trade. Yes, that's true, Robert. Good observation. It came through line 6 and the stealth line, which is our minimum requirement for retracement in a long trade to jump in. All right, I'm going to advance the Russell chart. We're right at 718 from this morning. And you are going to type in ST when you think the short is setting up to take. Ready? Here we go. Let me blow this up for you a little bit here so to make the bars a little bit bigger. Okay, now we're at 730. 747. Remember, you type it in an ST when the short trade is setting up. Okay. There's 750. Been in this area now for 7 minutes. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Tell me, please, everybody tell me, please tell me that you saw this was the short trade set up when it kissed the midband. Please tell me you saw that. I mean, it hit it 1, 2, arguably 3 times in the span of 744 all the way over here to 750. 10 minutes. It sat here for 10 minutes hitting the midband. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, I mean, that is just short city right there. That's it. That's the trade right there. Everybody here today should have typed in short trade right there. All right, now we go down to a fresh swing low at 78. If we pull back to the mid-band and we sit there and you put a box on it, like let's say right there, you're at 8 o'clock. You've retraced about half of the move down, and YM is going up. Would you let this box go either way? Type in an E. Short only, type in an S. Or let's do it this way. S for short, L for long, and B for both. You're at 8:05. Had the big run up overnight. Had the follow through, poke up to the X side. You had a short roll over here, short roll over here. So there was short opportunities to make money. 8 o'clock. B for both. Are you going to enable both sides, long and short, out of this box? Long only, L. S only, S. And B, let it go both ways. Buy it short. Okay, we got some shorts. We got a couple longs. Yeah, you don't have to use the box, so Chris. I've showed other ways to get in. You can simply put limit orders. That is an alternative for you. You can put a limit buy order in right here. Okay, you could put a limit sell order in right here. Well, not only you, but anybody. under the wick of that candle. Limit sell order right there. 4 seconds on the clock. Long only L, short only S, both ways B. NASDAQ and YM are already heading up. If that's going to influence what your thinking might be. 2 seconds. Don't overthink it. Okay, B. In my opinion, B is the correct answer. You want to let, and the influencer was the fact that the other markets at this particular junction in time were already going up. So it was a strong light. You remember the NASDAQ chart? That thing was going up all day. YM had bottomed out and was already starting to head up right here. And so the laggard Russell finally dinks around, and then dinks around, and then dinks around, and then up she goes all the way back and puts in a fresh high. Now, here's the other thing. Did you get an ABC on this one? Yes or no? Out of the box. Let's say hypothetically you had the box drawn like we had it shown and you're filled long on this bar right here, and then almost immediately it pulls against you and you're upside down. Yeah, there's a couple of them. Now, it's not as pronounced as some other ones are, but arguably it is an ABC. Here's the A, this little bit by a couple of 3, 4 bars. Here's the B. Higher low, mid-band holds. If you miss the box, market order, limit order, box right here. Second chance to get in. Arguably, the C leg then turned out to be another ABC, like such. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Excuse me. I got a tickle. Hold on. Drink a sip of tea. You can make the pretty strong case that there was actually 3 entries you could have taken if you missed the, you got the original box right here, which is filled long, secondary box holding the midband, and a third box here where it poked down through line 6 and stealth. This is our minimum criteria, staying above this swing and that swing, and would be an equal entry as to almost here. 3 shots to get in and catch this move. You could have just basically traded from 7 till about 8, 8:30, caught these short moves and caught the long moves, and that would have been your morning on Russell. Definitely, no question about it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for being patient. We had all those technical problems trying to get started. My apologies, everybody. My apologies. And we got the live room in the morning. Do we got any news tomorrow? Anybody? Let's take a look at Forex Factory real quick here. Does they got any news in the morning tomorrow, or is it kind of a dead Friday, not dead summer Friday? Okay, here's what Forex Factory looks like in the morning. Right here. No, this is today. Tomorrow's the 15th. June 15th already. Isn't that just unbelievable? I get some pre-market news. Well, this is the euro right here. Okay, so by the way, if you are, just a final note on 6B and 6E, you want to have your Forex Factory up if you're trading that European session, because you do get British pound news and you can get euro news and you can get Swissy news. Whatever instrument you're going to trade overnight, you want to enable that. Aussie, Canadian, Swissy, euro, British pound, yen, US dollar, whatever you're trading, you want to enable that here. Because, if there's some, you're in the middle of a British pound trade and some big economic report comes out and starts shotgunning all over the place, and you don't know anything about it, you can get creamed real bad. So, yeah, you want to have that news up there if you're going to trade. Here's some British pound news at 6:30. Minor impact, though. Well, it looks like medium impact news. We'll see how it is. Sometimes summer Fridays move. We got a sentiment at 7 o'clock. Sometimes you get good movement on a Friday in the summer. Sometimes you don't. We'll have to see if it's going to be choppy or big moves. All right, well, that's a wrap. Thanks for sticking around,